Greetings, members, one and all of the Salivation Nation. China has been buying gold from the United States to the tune of over $2 billion worth, and they are one of the largest producers of gold out there. Let's explore this newest visualization of the goods most traded between the U.S. and China. Yes, so this is quite fascinating. China, a large producer of gold out there. Now, in some ways it doesn't surprise me, but in other ways it does, especially when you take a look and see what we're importing from China, especially considering what's going on here in the latest developments in the trade war between the United States and China. It should come as to no surprise for any of us that there is a pretty big trade imbalance between the United States and China, and the data that was compiled for this infographic was from 2017, largely before the trade wars began. And you can see here the massive differences of what is being imported and exported between the two countries. Fascinating indeed. We can see here that over $43.67 billion worth of mobile phones and other wireless devices here are being imported into the United States from China. And their largest export, our largest export to China, are airplanes and other aircraft at much less, at $13.13 billion. In fact, laptops, desktops, and other data processing machines here are not far behind the mobile devices there. And heck, as we export airplane and other aircrafts to China, we're importing almost as much in terms of dollars the tricycle, scooters, and similar wheeled toys. So very fascinating indeed. The biggest agricultural export is soybeans there, $12.46 billion worth. And I think that's the biggest effect on farmers when those are being the tariffs there. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing. But nonetheless, you go down through the list, we can see all the other categories here. It makes no surprise that most of it is largely electronic in nature, from communication apparatus, monitors, that types of thing, automatic data processing machines. We export electronic integrated circuits, processors, and controllers to the tune of $4.95 billion worth. But what is surprising here is not only the amount of oil that we're exporting, that is actually a good thing, but also the gold that we're exporting to China. That is very fascinating to see that as one of the commodities being shown here at such a large amount there. If we take a look at the top 10 countries with the largest gold reserves, we can see the United States has 8,134 tons, and this is something that is not changed at all in the United States. We're holding the line there and not increasing our amount, and whereas China and Russia and some of these other, in India, they are continuing to add to their coffers there of gold. And you can see China is indeed down in the list, but nonetheless they're climbing. They're getting closer and closer, as is Russia and the like. And so to see that, it makes you wonder what that gold is being used for. Is some of it or all of it going into their reserves? Or is this being utilized in the manufacturing for the other goods that will essentially come back to the United States? In other words, the gold that is used in laptops, cell phones, and other devices. A lot of that stuff is used, and obviously, to some extent, in electronics. Not nearly as much as silver. And by the way, you can see that silver is nowhere on the list here, whereas copper is at $1.6 billion worth. And undoubtedly, there's a lot more silver in use in things like reception apparatus for televisions, automatic data processing machines, electrical static converters, monitors, communication apparatus. By the way, solar panels are also, the Chinese are a big manufacturer of solar panels, PV. So it is fascinating to see these data here and how it is being utilized, and where gold comes into play here. And silver is nowhere to be found in this list. Mountain Mexico is probably one of the largest producers of silver, so they're probably getting it from Mexico, Peru, and the like. But nonetheless, the United States also produces silver. But it is an interesting infographic here, and surprising to see how much gold is being exported, and none of it is being imported. Now, how much of that are we able to find? Because that's one of the things in terms of these reserves, the net buyers of gold since 2010, is where is it sourced from? Is it mined internally for some of these countries? Undoubtedly, I'm sure some of it is, but I'm sure a lot of it is also bought and purchased too, and we can kind of see that to some extent in China. My guess is some of that gold is going to their reserves, as well as they are mining it too. And China is definitely building up, in my opinion, and this is just another case of it. Now, the other question to ask is, with the data for 2018 and 19, and the tariffs being added on, is gold affected there? Are we adding tariffs to gold? I'd be curious to know. I'd be curious to know what the data looked like in prior years, in 2015, in 2011, in 2009, and what it looks like in the era now in the trade wars. It'll be very interesting to see how it all plays out, and if a trade deal is signed, and some are speculating now that the 15th is the date to, December the 15th, 2019 is a date to watch out for. Something may happen there. If that does, we shall see how will that affect gold trade outside into China. And then there's another question we can ask too. How much gold are we exporting to other nations out there? It is interesting and fascinating. To me, it seems like we're giving away true value and true wealth. I mean, we should be holding on to it, in my opinion, in this case. But it is interesting. The gold trade between different nations would be something very fascinating to see an infographic on. So there you have it. Post your thoughts below about gold exports from the United States to China, the two largest economies, the traded goods between them. What do you think is going to happen from here on out? A major shift, I believe, will be taking place as a new trade developments occur and deals are reached. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch videos like this. I do post every single day. And I want to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.